Good morning. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And we were supposed to be at dog school today, which leads into our topic. But dog school is not happening for at least another week. And we are in this precipitous balance in this country of how much to do and not do. The dog school people, of course, need to make money like anyone who's a massage therapist or doing, person by person work like that, or dog by dog. And they have to pay for the rent in the building, which is not that cheap, and it's because it's a huge space. They're not having classes, so they want to start, but then there's the who wants to come kind of thing. Massachusetts is still in the top 3 worst states in the country in terms of COVID numbers, and it's stressful. And in our area, it's not that bad. There's about 1,000 cases per county around here. Although south of where dog school is, there's 7,000 cases in that county. And a lot of it's from nursing homes, but that's still only a fifth of it. So anyway, there's that balance between wanting to work and not being fully feeling safe when you're going to work. And I think we're all juggling this. I'm juggling this with my yoga students and my yoga space and my personal clients that I see. And then we see so much going on in the world right now. There's so much turmoil and so many voices that need to be heard, and some that are a little too loud and violent. And what I thought we would do today is think about peace. And I've told this little story before, but when I just actually cleaned out a bunch of files this morning. I've been gradually sorting through my junky office, getting rid of things, and I had files about my cancer diagnosis and treatment that I was sorting and tossing and thinning down and gathering some materials for some other people. And I was reminded of Bernie Siegel and the wonderful, lucky experience I had of going to so many meetings with him 1 or 2 times a month for several years. And one of the times we were there, he said, if you could ask for anything in the world, what would it be? And this is for a bunch of people who are struggling with cancer and Lyme disease, and a couple of people even with schizophrenia that had huge things going on in their personal health. Pretty much everybody had expressions of feelings like, I want my family to get along. I want success in my career. Things that were more than just their health. And when he got around to me, I was the last person, and I said, I want world peace, because that was the thing I could think of that encompassed everything else that everyone said. If we all have peace, then the whole world will be a better place. And that doesn't mean we won't have conflict, but we won't have deadly violence. And we'll have disagreement, but we'll have agreeing to disagree. So to me, the idea of peace on a universal level is huge, really critically important. And, and to strive towards that, even if it's not actually possible. Oh, see, look, we have somebody from Australia. It's just so terrible that your photographer and news team got tackled. Ugh, it's just hard to watch. So, yeah, and Danny's a sharer of peace. And so all of us, anyone with a dog, for the most part, who treats their dogs well, is a shining light in the world. And what that means is that you are self-aware. You know where your peace comes from. You see good even on the worst day, even if it's only for a minute. And that takes a lot of self-confidence and self-evaluation and self-knowledge to get to that place. And it's really important that people who can hold the possibility that things will get better and that they will continue to improve. And so I thought today what we might do are some Tellington heart hugs for peace. And I want to remind you of, and Bernie. So back to Bernie's meeting. I was the one who said world peace. And Bernie had only ever had one other very elderly woman bring that up at a meeting. And he's asked, 30 people this for 30 or 40 years. And he said that woman was, just a really kind person. I don't know if she was a nun or a grandmother of many children, but she was old and wise and experienced and knew, as I felt in that moment, that world peace would create peace for everyone. And all these other things like, and non-suffering, that comes from the Buddhist tradition. Non-suffering for the world also is a way of expressing world peace. And, it's just such an important thing. And there's so much going on that we need peace. And this is a worldwide thing, as our friend from Australia can tell us. It's not just isolated to our country. And, the other aspect of that is the report that Greg Braden has in his, belief, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief. In that book, he reports a study where they had 100 kind of good, trained meditators meditate on peace all together at a certain time. And it was peace in the Middle East, and there was no fighting for 24 hours around that half an hour of when those people were meditating on peace. So I think, if people are listening to this now or in an hour or in 3 days or whenever, it only takes, they've figured, 100 people meditating on the same thing in the same period of time to change 1 million people. And that seems almost impossible, but as I've mentioned before, in my town of Northampton, and I'm sure this is happening remotely, there are so many meditation groups and different kinds of meditation groups that happen on Sunday evenings. And even in some churches, there are traditions of like silent prayer, which is like meditation. And so there are at any time dozens, hundreds of people meditating. And if we can get them to all focus on the same thing, for any period of time, you can affect 1 million people. You change the frequency, you change the vibration of that lower, deeper stress and violence. And you can see this on TV in the conflicts. There are the peaceful protesters, and you can just feel this peace emanating from them. They're hugging police officers. They are, looking completely immersed in the process of what they're doing with their beliefs of what they are doing. And then you see these people just going crazy and wrecking stores. And if Camden, New Jersey, which is one of the most violent, difficult cities in the country, and there was a whole thing on, I think, NBC News this morning about them, it'll be on tonight. Camden, New Jersey is a place so dangerous that, you don't even want to drive your car through. But Camden, New Jersey has an incredible union between the police officers and the people that are protesting. And it is remarkable. And they have worked very hard in that city to create peace there. And if peace can come to Camden, New Jersey, believe me, it can come to many places we wouldn't expect. So I'm just going to remind you what a heart hug looks like. You imagine the face of a clock on your chest with the 6 at the bottom and the 12 at the top. And you're going to make a circle and a quarter around that clock, starting at the 6, around the clock, and back to the 9. And you're going to cross your hands on your heart. Now I have mine on my dog, and I'm afraid he'll slide off if I don't hold him. But you could just cross your hands on your heart like this. And you want to go through your clothes and just make a connection with your skin. And as you inhale, and it doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, inhale, just push that skin around in a circle and a quarter. And as you inhale, you're imagining peace and light and comfort to people. And you can make that as specific as you want. And then you exhale as you come back around the circle. You're going to inhale. Jerry, we're sending peace with a heart hug. She just joined us around that circle and a quarter. And it can be peace to all beings, peace to the protesters, peace to someone's family, peace to groups of people that you might think of. You can do a whole lot of heart hugs on this topic. And it helps your breathing, it helps you relax, and it also, your thoughts really can shift things. The whole world is made up of frequencies and vibrations of heart hugs are a very high vibration. And that goes out and balances out with the lower frequencies to raise them. And inhale as you do those hard hugs, and exhale as you come back around the circle, and don't go too fast. And I've been doing these hard hugs in my yoga class with the seniors at the Soldiers Home, which is now famous for having over 90 veterans out of 210 or so die from COVID. And the numbers keep changing because some of them, they weren't 100% diagnosis, but still 80, 75, 90, it's a lot. And boy, I can see a real shift in people when they do these hard hugs. You know, some of them are deaf and can hardly understand me, but they're doing this, and you know, there's the Pledge of Allegiance. This is not that different for some of those older guys who might not understand very well, but the change in their light and their openness when they do these hard hugs is just amazing. And so I invite you to do a few of these hard hugs today. Hi Marlene, with yourself and send peace to the world. And things have been de-escalating. It was way better last night than it's been other nights. And I'm sure as time wears on and resolution comes to some of the problems that created this, things will get better. But really, try to intend health too to all the people that are valuing their protests so much that they are risking their health, because that's really important. And health for all of us, so we can take care of our dogs and our cats and horses and bunnies, right, Tristan? So thanks for joining us today for this episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Tristan's remembering the yawn from the other day. Sorry we missed you yesterday. We had quite an adventure here. I had my prior lawn guy come. He mowed. It's beautiful out there. I have to go set up the confidence course and the agility course. And he caught and relocated several of the slithery items, and now there's none on my front step. He is a charmer, I tell you. He just walks up to them and they come to him. And then he holds them like a baby bird. He's got them in these giant red gloves he wears, and their little heads are just sticking up. And there's just something about his absolute confidence, safety, and really heartfelt love for them that makes me calm. I mean, I could almost maybe think of touching one when he's holding it. I mean, it's just amazing. And they talk all the time about desensitizing and horse training, and now in dog training, you know, where you take the scary thing and you shake it at the horse until he's standing still, and you know, you do all these things. And you know, thank God in T-Touch, if we do that, we are working with body work and we're building their confidence slowly, which is far more effective. But you know, for me, being exposed to the slithery things day in and day out here, as it's been for a couple of weeks, has only raised my anxiety. And it's only when somebody like Brian, who really loves them, is holding them with great compassion and love, that I see something that I don't see when I just find one. And we might have a longer talk about this one day, because this really translates over to animal training, because desensitizing has become such a thing. And sometimes, I mean, we get people at T-Touch clinics saying, I had my horse desensitized and now he is unresponsive to anything, because they're just like, they just zone out. They just go out of their mind in order to cope with the stress. So we can talk more about that. But anyway, we're going to go out and jump some jumps in our yard today, because the grass is mowed and the you-know-whats have moved on. So everybody have a great day. Enjoy the warmer weather that's coming in. Do plenty of hard hugs and have lots of compassion for the people around you. What's this say? Watching Steve Irwin help me get past some of those slithery things. Yep, he's a lot like Brian, although, you know, Steve had a lot of enthusiasm. Brian is quiet and grounded. I mean, he really is something. I should do a Facebook Live with him one day with them. That would be something. I don't know if I could ever look at it again. Anyway, yeah, and keep them out of your property. Just hard hugs for them to go elsewhere. I've thought of calling an animal communicator to ask them to move, and I don't know if I could find one who could talk to them very well, but I mean, I know one who actually really loves them, so maybe. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day. Thanks for joining us today. Lots of hard hugs. Bring peace to the world. Be light. Bring good. Be calm. And be kind to your animals. Thanks for joining us.